2015, 32-year-old Henry McCabe was living just outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota with his wife, Corrine, and their two daughters. On September 6th, Henry's wife and his two kids head out to California to visit with some family, leaving Henry alone. He calls his two very close friends, and they decide to go to a nightclub. They get to the nightclub, and Henry very quickly starts drinking a lot of alcohol. The trio would stay at the nightclub till about 2 in the morning, and then when they left, Henry, who had driven there and met his two friends at the club, was about to drive himself home when one of his two friends said, "Wait a minute, you can't be driving." Henry gets in the car with them and they start driving to Henry's house. Henry tells them to go to a very specific gas station. He said he wanted to get food and a drink, but the gas station he was trying to go to was 2 miles in the opposite direction away from his house. Henry was really aggressive and very adamant that that was the gas station he wanted to go to, and in fact, "I don't even want you to wait for me. I want you to drop me off. I will get whatever I want and then I'll walk home." They dropped him off, they watched him go inside, and they turned around and they left. At 2:28 in the morning, Henry's wife, Corrine, looked at her phone and she saw she had a missed call and a voicemail from Henry. On the voicemail, Henry sounds incredibly distressed. He's yelling that he's been shot and it sounds like he's in pain. And then in the background, you hear this really intense growling sound. And then Henry starts screaming about whatever is growling at him. And then Henry yells out, "Stop it," before the phone cuts out. This is what was made publicly available. Right after Corrine listens to this voicemail, she tries calling Henry, and it goes straight to voicemail. The police go out looking for Henry. They go to his house. He's not there. Look around the gas station. They talk to the attendant. They talk to some people that were there, and no one knows where Henry is. So at this point, the police pull Henry's phone records, and they can see he placed a call to his wife at about 2:23 in the morning, but they can't determine where he was. Then, just a few minutes later, he places another call to his brother, and his brother would report to police that all Henry was doing on the call was just sobbing. And following that call to his brother, he turned his phone off. Several hours later, his phone would turn back on and it would ping about 4 miles away from this gas station. Then his phone would turn off again. 2 months after Henry goes missing, his body is found in a lake up near the area where his cell phone had last pinged. This area is a very difficult area to access. There's no public access to this lake. There were no injuries to his body. Even though the case was bizarre to everybody involved, they ruled it an accidental drowning. Some say he took his own life. Others say he was just intoxicated and stumbled into the lake and drowned. Neither of those explanations account for the very obvious growling and strange sounds that we heard on his voicemail. To this day, Henry McCabe's death remains a mystery.